Hi there, Whiskey Hopper here, and today a little bit of a different review because I'm reviewing something that's quite, to be fair, some of the things I've reviewed were quite hard to get, but this is particularly hard to get now. Ardbeg Supernova 2015. This is something that it used to be one of my favourite whiskies when I was a bit of a smoke bandit, I guess. I don't really know what to call myself. Someone who's just superly heavily into really smoky whiskies. And I tried the Supernova 2014 in a whiskey show and I thought it was amazing. I then tried this in a bar in Edinburgh and thought it was really good. And the 2015 release is probably the easier, actually it is the easier, more affordable whiskey out of between the two that you can buy at auction. I mean, if you want to go further back, it's even more ridiculously expensive, and they're very good. But my opinion of this whiskey's changed quite a lot. When I first tried it, it was absolutely amazing, and now having tried a lot more whiskey, I still like it. But if I'm honest, it's not my favourite whiskey by a long shot. And at the time when I tried it, it was one of my favourite whiskies I owned, and just absolutely loved it. I still think it's very good, but it's just it's not as complex or as interesting as I thought it was, and it's a little bit too simple and just, wow, that's a lot of smoke. Is there much else? No, there's not really. So anyway, let's do a quick review of this. So on the nose, it's quite herby actually. It's kind of like a slightly spicy herbiness to it. It reminds me of my spice rack at home. Not that I use it that often, but when I have done, like kind of like peppery, sweet spices and things. It's definitely quite a spicy whiskey on the nose, at least. There's a little bit of kind of musty smokiness to it, kind of irony smoke. I would say it reminds me of a little bit of sort of burnt metal, that sort of smell, where it's slightly charred. There's a little bit of like fresh turf, that kind of thing. It's good. Very medicinal, and it smells quite strong. But yeah, it's bottled at 54.3%, so it's not light, but it's not, it's about the same as a Ugadal in terms of strength. So I don't think it's cask strength. If you're wondering what the Supernova is all about, just a quick thing: they sent some whiskey into space, I think in 2009, and they released an Ardbeg Supernova to celebrate that, and then they released another one I think in 2010 and 2011, and then they didn't do any more until it came back, and they did one in 2014 and then one in 2015. I can't remember. It's got a nice little thing on the side that tells you all about it, and if you look online, there is a description of basically Charles McLean, I think it is Charles McLean. He's a whiskey reviewer, sort of, but he's massive in the whiskey industry. He tasted it and gave his thoughts on it with the manager of the Ardbeg distillery, and basically it's a nice little thing to do, but a bit pointless for the majority of people. So what is this? It's okay. So it's 100 parts per million, this one, in terms of peating, which is pretty strong considering, generally speaking, Ardbeg's at, I think, 55 parts per million. It doesn't really have much on the events of it, other than, a bit pointless. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, let's have a quick taste. Yeah, the smoke kind of does punch you in the face. Okay, I take back what I said about this. It's still very good, and I still really like it. Is that? No, yeah. It's still really good. I still really like it. It's just a little bit too, I would say, young. It's kind of young and just peaty for the sake of peaty. It reminds me a little bit of the Octomores, but the good ones, not the ones that are. I've had some Octomores that are awful and some that are really good. This one is, as an Ardbeg goes, I think very nice. It's got a really nice dark chocolatey kind of heaviness to it and sweetness, which starts off really nicely. What was the tasting that I had a second ago? It sort of gets a bit lost in spiciness after that, and you get a little bit more, a bit like on the nose where it's curry spices. You get a little bit of that coming through, and then just tons of smoke, like you've just been smacked in the face with a smoke gun. I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's a bit like standing behind a steam train or something. It's just not really, but lots of smoke. It's massive and very, very much a in your face, look how great I am, look how smoky I am kind of whiskey. I mean, I still like it. On the nose, it's actually kind of become a lot softer. Reminds me of some sort of grainy spiritiness. It actually just reminds me of the smell of going around a distillery and smelling like the grain on the floor, on the malting floor. It has a maltiness to it, but yeah, it's quite light and sweet really on the nose. You still get smoke, but it's not as obvious as it is on the palate. It's a little bit more hidden. It's calmed down a little bit. Personally, I don't add water to this. Give me a second. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. I just need to add a little bit more whiskey to the mix. Last few dregs. And then, just to see if there's any difference. It's 54%. I'll add a fair bit. Okay, so I don't know if I'm honest, it's the sort of whiskey where I like it at the strength it's at. I don't really want to weaken it anymore. I think it's fine, but there is a bit of bite at the end. So I'm just adding it just to see what I think of it now. It's weirdly got just more earthy and muddy with the water. Just, yeah, it just smells like a bog. Just quite like a nice, like wet morning, that kind of thing. There's a fair bit more sweet vanilla-iness to it, which is very nice. Yeah, okay. It becomes a lot more sweet and kind of like a weird mix of vanilla, chocolatey sweetness to it, all wrapped up in a nice bacon, quite heavily charred. Yeah, it's definitely like heavily charred bacony sort of sweetness to it as well. Yeah, meaty, bit of saline-y. Yeah, points wise, I'm going to give it 90 because it's something that I do really like. I've got a big fondness for this, and it is very good. It's just something that I would have liked to be a bit more complicated, a bit more complex. And as I've gotten more interested in, well, not more interested, as I've tried more whiskey, my palate's developed as I've tried more and more. And now it's still very good, But when I tried it before, 2 years ago or so, I thought it was absolutely amazing. And now it's just like, yeah, it's good. It's good. So I would, yeah, 90. I think it's a good review for that. But yeah, until next time. Not sure what I'm going to do next time. Just see how it goes. Yeah, thanks very much.